Hey folks, welcome back to Honey Money SG. So it has been 2 months since my last Endowus portfolio update. So this will be my April 2022 Endowus update. And in last week, just when you think there were good news about Russia reposition their troops out of Ukraine's capital Kyiv, then in the next day you hear of this news that Russian forces are holding their ground in Kyiv and instead continue their shelling attacks and strikes on Ukraine's capital. So you see the circumstances of this war is as unpredictable as the stock market. One day you hear this news, one day you hear another news. Also, it has been more than 2 weeks since the March FOMC meeting where they confirmed the interest rate hikes to be 25 basis points. And we actually seen quite a few green days of continuous rally, right? But we ended the month or the quarter with some red days. So will this rally be a relief rally or a true breakout session for all our equity stocks? I don't know, but we shall see in the second quarter of this year. So let's throw back to 2 months ago. How was my Endowus portfolio performance, right? So in Feb 2022, my total gain for Endowus portfolio was around 1.9k Singapore dollars. My CPF investing portfolio, which is mainly focused on S&P 500 index tracking, has been gaining a $489 in Feb, and that is a 3.3% net percentage gain. Whereas for my SRS portfolio, which is 100% in Dimensional Global Equity Core Fund, saw a negative return of $207, which signify a 1.5% negative return. So that was my numbers in February, not doing really well during that time because of all the war fears and inflation fears, right? So for this time in April, let's see how has the Endowus portfolio performed for my April update. Let's go. Alright folks, so welcome to my Endowus platform for April update. So for reference, this update is actually dated on the 3rd of April, so whatever values that you're seeing here, you will need to backtrack to my reference date. And from here, you could see that my investment value is around 32,700 Singapore dollars, and that is excluding a $1,000 investment that is still processing right now. My total gain or loss will be around 2.3k Singapore dollars, which represents a 7.69% positive return over time. And here is how the chart looks like for the investment value. So you can see that I have been always putting money regularly into Endowus platform, doing my dollar cost average strategy. So we have seen a few peaks and troughs over the past few months because of market sentiments and of course the bearish news surrounding the market. But of course, I'm going to continue dollar cost average in this, and I'll talk about my strategy later. Moving down, I do have my two goals, my two investment goals. Firstly being the CPF Honey Money portfolio, which is 100% focused on the S&P 500 index. And then previously, I do have a SRS dimensional investing portfolio, which I have since stopped investing ever since I have discovered a cheaper platform to invest my SRS. So let's take a look at firstly the CPF portfolio, right? Because Endowus is one of the only few platforms which you could use to invest your CPF ordinary account funds, which is what I did, right? Firstly, you need to have at least 20,000 in your CPF OA so that you can carry on investing. And right now, the gain or loss is actually at 800 Singapore dollars, which represents a 4.5% positive gain. And then for my SRS portfolio, it is right now at 13.9k Singapore dollars with a loss of $125, and that represents a 0.89 negative return. Okay, so let's zoom in on my CPF S&P 500 Honey Money portfolio. Right now, I do have a dollar cost average instructions set up every month. I would invest $1,000 on the 15th calendar day every month. So this is highly automatic. I don't have to do much thing other than to make sure my CPF OA has enough funds above the 20k, right? Because below 20k, you cannot use your CPF funds to invest. So you have to make sure that your CPF contribution monthly is enough so that there won't be an errant deduction and CPF will charge you a small fine for that. And over here is the goal projection where you can see how much is your investing portfolio expected to grow at a different percentage change of outcome, right? Whether it is top 25, bottom 10 or medium performance, and the 2.5% is currently the OA interest rate. And this graph will show you how is it compared to the OA interest rate if you invested your funds with Endowus. Now moving on to my activity and balances, I'm going to update you guys on some of the change in my investing strategy for CPF OA. So you could see that I have been regularly investing $1,000 every month on the 15th calendar day of each month, right? See, 18 Jan, 16 Feb, 16 of March. But you do note that I actually have additional investments ever since Feb, right? 4th of February 2022, I added $1,000. 2nd of March, I added another $1,000. And of course, 1st of April, I added another $1,000. So what does this actually mean is that I am investing $1,000 every 2 weeks or bi-weekly. So in total, I am investing $2,000 every month into the CPF OA portfolio. And the reason is because right now, my CPF OA is actually supercharged as I have reached my basic healthcare sum and my full retirement sum. So the CPF contribution to my OA funds has actually grown quite a lot, and I actually want to channel more funds into my CPF OA investment portfolio. For those of you who followed my CPF videos, you should know that having a supercharged OA is really liberating. It means that you can spend more money on investing or for paying mortgages on a bigger property. So that's why I always advocate that you guys top up your CPF, contribute it wherever you can, whether for tax reliefs or not, because it can really give you a lot of autonomy and freedom, and even take on more risk when you are investing in the equity market. So this is what I'm doing right now, $1,000 bi-weekly or every 2 weeks. Total $2,000 in CPF OA investing in Endowus per month. And just for people who are still confused in what I'm investing in, this is my current portfolio. I do have 2 goals, so I'm going to zoom in on the CPF S&P Honey Money portfolio. 100% into S&P 500 LionGlobal Infinity US500 stock index fund. So you can go and search for this fund via the Fund Smart strategy by Endowus, and right now it's charging around 0.63% fund level fees. Endowus do offer trailer rebates of 0.28%, so the net fees after the rebates is around 0.36%. Of course, you have to add in the Endowus fund advisor fees, which is around 0.3%. Total 0.36 plus 0.3% for FundSmart, total 0.66% of management fees per annum. So that is your total expense ratio, which is not considered high, right? If you compare to other brokers where if you want to invest your CPF OA into such ETFs, I don't think they will charge that cheap. So if you're investing in the S&P 500, then your top 10 holdings will be mainly US companies, right? Like your mega tech companies of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet, Tesla, all this stuff. And then your top 10 markets is definitely in the US. Yes, so that is for my CPF portfolio. Now let's move on to my SRS Dimensional Honey Money portfolio. So I haven't been adding funds to this ever since I've moved on to another brokerage platform to invest my SRS, right? Because over at the other platform, they are not charging like annual fees to actually manage the SRS investing, and I felt that it is actually cheaper. So similarly, I'm going to go to my goals and select the SRS Dimensional Honey Money, and you will see that I only invest in the 100% Dimensional Global Core Equity Fund. So for those of you who don't know what to invest your SRS in, I think this fund is a fairly good fund because it actually covers the world index for the developed countries. So it excludes like those emerging economies like China, like Vietnam, right? It only includes the first world economies, so mainly US and Europe, and the fund level fees are not expensive at all. It's only 0.26%. So there isn't any rebates given by Endowus. And if we add in the 0.3% Fund Smart advisor fees, it will come up to a total of 0.56%, which is not too bad either to invest your SRS. But you have to note that all these fees are recurring every year because it's held by the robo-advisor Endowus. So that's just something to note if you want to invest in robo-advisors like Endowus, because they do have to actually charge you annual fees for that. So let's take a look at some of the holdings for this Dimensional Global Core Equity Fund. Now mainly in mega tech as well, but you could see that the percentage allocation is much smaller because there are more companies within this Dimensional Global Core Equity Fund. So every company would take a smaller weightage, which is why it is considered a lower risk compared to S&P 500. Because of more diversified companies, you will diversify your risk, but you will also diversify your returns. That's why it's a less concentrated fund. So I do want to show to you guys what is the performance up to date for my Endowus portfolio. And you could see that this is my all-time return. And mostly we look at the time-weighted return because that is the most accurate if we factor in the time. And all-time is around 22%. Year to date is not great at 3.92% negative. I think that is similar to the index of S&P 500. And then for the 1 month, at least I see it's a positive gain. And the past 6 months have been just relatively around the 3% mark. But of course, if you're doing a simple return, which means how much money you put in versus how much value is your investment portfolio now, it's just 7%, and YTD is around negative 3%. So all these depend on which metric you prefer to look at. I will prefer to look at the time weighted return because that is the more generally accepted metric that most investors would use. So I would say that if you're doing stock picking and your investment returns of your individual stock portfolio is underperforming this kind of time weighted return, I mean YTD, you are losing more than 4%, then I think why not focus your time on other stuff and just put your money in the index such as Endowus Robo-Advisors Unit Trust. I think you save more time, you don't have to look at so much trouble, and that's what I'm doing, right? Dollar cost average every month. I don't really have to spend so much time on this, and I can focus on my YouTube stuff, more content delivered to you guys as well. So if you haven't signed up, you can go and use my referral link down in the description and the pinned comment below. Get some $20 excess fee credit that can offset your trading fees in Endowus. And if you have enjoyed my sharing on my Endowus April update, then do help me comment a thank you at the bottom of the comments. I'll really appreciate it, and let's get back to the video. Alright folks, welcome back. So you have seen my Endowus portfolio performance for April. Did it meet your expectations? If you're investing in Endowus, did you see the same percentage gain as me? But regardless of all the market noise, the news, the good news or the bad news, I will continue to dollar cost average into my CPF investing portfolio. So my new DCA investing strategy is $1,000 bi-weekly, as I mentioned, in my Endowus CPF OA portfolio that tracks the S&P 500 index via LionGlobal Infinity US500 fund. Of course, if you're trying to find funds that you could invest your CPF OA in, I think Endowus is one of the few options now. I heard Money Hour had a new CPF product, but I haven't looked at it yet. Maybe I'll share more about this in another video on Money Hour. Also, if you want to refer to my February 2022 performance where my Endowus go underwater, right, then you can watch this video because it will show you what were the news back then and how has circumstances changed from then till now. With that, thank you for watching. My name is Christopher. This is Honey Money SG, steering young adults to financial independence.